Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio, so today it is finally time to talk about Dragonite. Now, Dragonite is one of the favourite Pokemon from the early days, the first kind of big, exciting dragon Pokemon, back before there were dragon Pokemon. Sorry, Charizard. So, he is coming out again in Pokemon Sun and Moon, the trading card game collection, and there is excitement to be had. Now, we're actually going to start all the way with Dratini here. Now, 60 HP, dragon Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. Here's what we've got. Signs of Evolution. Search your deck for one each of Dratini, Dragonair and Dragonite and put them in your hand. Now, your opponent can always play something like an N to make you shuffle your hand back into your deck, but otherwise you know you've got a Dragonair for next turn. You know you've got a Dragonite for next turn. So maybe you've got a rare candy in your hand and you can candy Dragonite. Maybe you get two Dratinis out turn one and then you search for one of each. So turn two, you know you've got a Dragonair to evolve one of your Dratinis. You know you've got a third Dratini to put on the bench. And if you've got a rare candy, you can actually go and get a Dragonite as well. To put it another way, you could, with just one rare candy, turn two Dratinis into one Dratini, one Dragonair, and one Dragonite, using one attack and a rare candy. That is very, very good, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this isn't Water Duplicates Frogadier good, but I think it comes a fairly close second in terms of attacks that allow you to set up the rest of your Pokemon. Yeah, your opponent can play an end to try and stop you, but you know what? In terms of a setup attack on a basic, this is pretty gosh darn tasty. But it gets even better with Dragonair. Stage 1, 90 HP Dragon Pokemon. Now, all of these have a weakness to Fairy, which does mean that things like Xerneas, not Xerneas, I got that wrong a couple times on stream, but I got told off and I'm working on it. And Gardevoir will be hitting this boy for weakness. Hey ho, these things happen. Although, to be honest, 90 HP weakness is kind of irrelevant, but it will be relevant when we get up to Dragonite. So Fairy weakness, not insubstantial. Now, Dragonair here has an amazing attack for one colourless energy, Dragon Prayer. During your next turn, you may attach as many energy as you like from your hand to your Pokemon. This is absurd, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the current translation we have, and we all know this might end up being wrong or different when it comes to the English-speaking world, but the one we have at the moment says energy. That means, yeah, they're dragon Pokemon, double dragon energy. And what you really want to do is you want to attack with Dragonair and then you want to go nuts. You want to try and draw every energy out of your deck so that you can attach them all in one turn and set yourself up for the game. So cards like Professor's Letter will be absolutely key here, trying to make sure that you can get this energy out of your deck. Cards like Acrobike to try and allow you to draw more cards. And even something like Oranguru, who will be able to allow you to draw until you got 3 cards in hand. I think if you're going to want to go the Dragonair route, you want a bit of a speed deck here. Dragonair gives you a single turn to attach all the energy you can find, and you really want a speed deck build, Trainer's Mail, Professor's Letter, Acrobike, etc., just to go absolutely nuts, drawing as many energy as you can, whacking them all down on the field. Now, your opponent will be able to turn this off using a Pokemon Ranger. If your opponent plays a Pokemon Ranger, that of course gets rid of the effect of this ability, meaning during your next turn you cannot attach as many energy as you like. But this is quite nice because, firstly, not everybody plays Pokemon Ranger nowadays. A lot of people have been dropping it from their list. And secondly, your opponent has to play Pokemon Ranger. There's no, oh, maybe they'll play it, maybe they won't. It is an, if they don't play a Pokemon Ranger, they are going to have a very, very bad time indeed. It forces your opponent to have a Pokemon Ranger next turn, and that's pretty good. Now, I'm quite a fan of the Dragonite as well, although other people not so much as me. Don't worry, there are other options. Now, 5 energy, 200 damage, flip a coin if tails this does nothing. Oh my god, utter garbage in the worst possible way. This is I've got to knock out this Pokemon this turn or I lose the game. I happen to have 5 energy on him attack. I suppose in absolute desperation mode, there is a chance for this attack, but nothing more. Dragon Wave, 1 grass, 1 lightning, 130, discard a grass and the lightning. Now, as long as it says grass and lightning and not basic, and again, translation will be relevant here, Double Dragon Energy. Attach a Double Dragon Energy, it counts as both a grass and a lightning, do 130, discard it again. 130 every turn is pretty nice. Let's not forget that Dragonair allows you to get the energy on, and we've also, and of course Dratini allows you to go ahead and, get these Pokemon out. And there's a whole bunch of Pokemon nowadays that do more damage depending on the energy you've got attached. Evaltali X is the big one, but other ones like Oranguru and Espeon GX, links to those videos in the description, could be relevant here as well. So for Dragonite, not only can you do 150 damage, but you can do it while leaving 0 energy on Dragonite, helping to protect yourself from some of these Pokemon. As a side note, 160 HP, that is pretty tasty. It's going to take quite a bit to take Dragonite down. One card you might like to consider because of Dragonite's high retreat cost here is Heavy Boots. Because he's got a retreat cost of 3 or more, so he gets plus 20 HP and can't be confused. Now, lack of confusion's always fun, though it's not a big part of the game right now. But then he's got 180 HP. That could be fun, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other option here, and it's a little bit clunkier, but the other option here is you use Vikavolt. Now, again, link in the description. He allows you to attach a grass and a lightning from your deck to Dragonite, or to any of your Pokemon once per turn. So you can attach it with Vikavolt, attack, and then keep going again and again. Now, he can be ability locked by things like Hex Maniac and Garbodor, and you're playing 2 Stage 2 lines here. I fear it's a little bit clunky, but Double Dragon Energy, and you can recover this with Special Charge now, means that you could potentially just do Dragon Wave every single turn for 1 energy attachment. And you know what? If I've got a Pokemon doing 130 damage for a single energy attachment with up to 180 HP, with a basic and a Stage 1, both of whom have really good attacks to help me set up, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Now, the interesting thing here is that there are 2 other Dragonites from Roaring Skies that are currently legal, both of which have not been playable up to now, but potentially could be in this deck. Now, you can only play 4 Dragonites, so the split is going to be key. One that might be a one-off tech is the non-ancient trait Dragonite from Roaring Skies. Ability, when you evolve into this Dragonite, you can heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. Instant healing with this Dragonite, and you can even then use something like, for instance, Devolution Spray to devolve the Dragonite, and then maybe do this a couple more times, or evolve up, devolve. Now remember, you've got to wait a turn to evolve again when you do, and then you can go ahead and evolve into a Dragonite with which you will attack. I fear the only thing stopping this Dragonite from going into this deck is the fact that it doesn't do as much as the other 2 Dragonites, but it's a really fun little tech that is consistent healing, and like I've said, Devolution Spray to reuse it. But one which I think is a better one-off tech here is Dragonite with the Ancient Trait. And to be honest, I'd be tempted to play a 2-2 line of Dragonite here. Delta Plus is the Ancient Trait he's got. When you KO a Pokemon, you take an extra prize. This turns all of your opponent's Pokemon into Pokemon EX and allows you to win the prize race by, and again, you can put Heavy Boots on, make him 180 HP, he's got a retreat cost of 4, and all of a sudden you've got 180 HP single prize Pokemon, and your opponent is always giving up 2 prizes. Now, the problem with him has always been this attack cost of 5 for heavy impact. Now, again, it's grass and lightning, so Vikavolt can be used, though I fear he's a little bit clunky. Double Dragon Energy can be used here, which helps out a lot, but really, this is Dragonair. Dragonair can allow you to put all this energy down, and you are go with Dragonite. Now here's what I feel about Dragonite. I love the non-ancient trait Roaring Skies, but only as a one-off tech for healing, and I fear there might not be room for it. I love the ancient trait one from Roaring Skies. My problem is this attack cost of 5 basically means that you have to use Dragonair to set up. And that's a little bit clunky. You might fall foul of Pokemon Ranger. It makes the deck a little bit slower because you've got to attack with the Dragonair. And what if you do get the Dragonair attack off, but then you don't have the energy to use with Dragonite? It is awkward, but the payoff is big. I think the main one here is still using the Dragonite from Sun and Moon. 130 consistently for 2 energy, which could just be 1 energy with the setup attacks. I like it a lot. And let's not forget, if you're constantly leaving 0 energy on Dragonite anyway, oh look, Max Potion allows you to heal up without any downside. Heal all your damage. But you got to discard all the energy attached to Dragonite. Well, not if there is no energy attached to Dragonite, ladies and gentlemen. I really like it. But I'm going to go back to it one more time. The Ancient Trait Dragonite is too enticing to at least not play one of these. You've got to play one of these. I could see a 2-2 split here, but of course, it is much more awkward to get him going. Anyone who's been watching my videos, listening to my podcast, available on iTunes, for a while will know I am a big fan of Pokemon that can attack for a single energy attachment. Don't forget Rare Candy to get Dragonite going, but with 2 good setups Pokemon and 2 good tech Dragonite, as well as a consistent Dragonite with your Max Potion and your Double Dragon Energy, I am a huge fan of this. One last little note before we finish here. If the translation comes that it must be discarding a basic Grass and a basic Lightning, this is still a really good card, but it makes it much more awkward because all of a sudden you can't use Double Dragon and it becomes a bit less fun. If we can use Double Dragon Energy, which with the current translation it appears we can, I'm giving Dragonite 4 Wassies. I think people are really underestimating this card. I think this could be quite a fast, powerful deck. As long as you can hit a couple of Rare Candies into Dragonite early game, your opponent is going to have to try and hit 180 damage, or you're hitting 130 while Max Potioning, and that is going to be hard to deal with. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There is a comment section. Use it. A like button. Use it. A subscribe button. To be honest, if you haven't used it already, what have I done to you? And of course, you can follow me on Twitter @TheWassie. The most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. So thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.